Hello, it's me again, the buyer, and in one of the last videos, which was almost 1 year ago, I built my real-life 1999 BMW Z3 Coupe. It was by far the most successful single video on my channel, so thanks to everybody for watching and for building the pressure. If you haven't seen it, I linked it in the top right. The build itself was mostly accurate, but you guys pointed out some mistakes along the way, so let's fix those and then experiment with a few upgrade paths for the car. So first of all, I used a performance mid intake manifold, but the M73 V12 TU has a DISA valve. DISA stands for Differenzierte Sauganlage, so it's basically changing the intake runner length. Long for low end torque, short for high end power. I didn't know this existed because it never was broken on my car. I'm one of the rare breed of BMW drivers that doesn't have any problems with their car, so how should I know that this exists? So I added it now, and we definitely need to retune the engine, because we have 2.5 horsepower too much and 5.5 Newton meters too little. So let me quickly give it a try. So I guess this is good enough now. 280 Newton meters was the goal, we have 1.5 less, and we have exactly spot on power and a very nice curve. And then next mistake, obviously I have vented front discs. I just didn't know. It is so obvious that it has vented front discs, it's a sports car. Anyway, the rears are totally fine. I'm just gonna reduce the brake force in the rear a little bit so that I have an easier time driving it later. But yeah, it was so clear that it has vented front disc. I also checked it myself and felt, yeah, it's definitely vented. Then some of you pointed out that it should have a semi-clad under tray, and I was recently under the car when I got new tires, and it's definitely true. Semi-clad I think is pretty good, even though the aerodynamics characteristics will get better, so I need to check the top speed afterwards. But it helps to make the car a little bit heavier, and we should aim for 1.3 tons in the end. There we go, there we have it. The only thing that is still off is the weight distribution. This should be 51% front and 49% rear, which is quite remarkable if you think of it, that it has a huge 2.8 liter 6-cylinder over the front axle. Still it manages to do the 50-50, almost. So let's try to achieve that, and there we go. And the slider range is just enough to make that happen. And now that the car is finally correct as it can be in automation, let's take a reference lap on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I did do a lap in real life with this car too, but only once and not taking a time. But the quick daddy has money guys in their 911s are so scary when they suddenly appear in your rear view mirror. That's not something I want to repeat in my own car again. Maybe if I ever do a lap there in tourist traffic again, I will use a rented car, but maybe also with an instructor first. Alright, 2.8 liter clown shoe on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Let's see what it can do. Just for your information, I am running on a controller, so I'm traveling, I don't have my rig with me, and that's why I also have traction control enabled to help me drive this. So in the bottom left you can see it active. Definitely helps a little bit to keep it under control. Otherwise the car feels super drivable here, so no problem at all. Just don't overdo it, keep it like a tourist drive. But this is much spicier than what I did with my own car here. Röhre more than 200 kilometers an hour. And now don't throw it away, like I did in sim racing, exactly the same way. Same corner. And now it's become suddenly a bit oversteery. Something is broken. It was more fun when it was going straight. Yeah, left turns are a bit difficult now. Steep downhill to right side. And keep up the momentum. Didn't really succeed in that. It's also super scary now, super twitchy. Kurve, 150 again. Not much more in it with the current level of damage. On towards the carousel. Nicely done. And on to Plantsgarten. And now Plantsgarten 2, this is where Verstappen almost threw it away in the 24-hour race. Ay. Just caught it. And we're almost done. Last corner before Döttinger Höhe. There we go. A long straight now ahead. But for me it's one long corner because I have to steer, approaching the official top speed of 231. Very scary under braking. Take it easy. And we are there at the traction control almost killed me. 926. Not too bad. Ignore the other times, those were with other cars. So now that the baseline time is set, how would I actually improve my own car? First of all, I would probably mount sports tires. So a little bit more grip, obviously. I recently got new tires on my car, which are Friedesteins. Previously I had 11-year-old Continental Sports Contact on them. They were so hard, probably more like hard long life. And I had to get new ones because the TÜV said no. The Friedesteins are probably more medium tires, not all out sports or somewhere in between, but a little more grip obviously always helps. I chose the Friedesteins because they are good value for money. If I wanted to spend a little more, I would go for proper sports tires, Michelin's or something. Then next I would drop the car a little bit, because sometimes it looks a little bit like a bus, and actually it was already a bit lower according to the documents that I have, but then they raised it again, maybe for curbstone clearance, so I never had any problems with the current ride height. But yeah, it would look a little nicer if we just dropped it by 20 millimeters. And then maybe I would also give it a bit more of a sporty exhaust, so let's just go for straight through there in the end for a little bit more sound. I think that would be quite nice. In normal traffic it's quite quiet, but once you go above 3,500 RPM, then it really comes alive. The fourth mod that I would do to it, I cannot do in automation, that would be cruise control. Apparently all I would need to do is cut a small hole in the steering column cover, and all the cables, everything is there. I just need to add the lever for the cruise control. That would help so much on the Autobahn to reduce the fuel consumption. But so far I didn't want to risk messing up the steering column cover, so I just let it be. And the fifth addition actually would be a sixth gear. That would be so nice. And some Z3 owners, I think, do it. They swap the gearbox, so stock also for the M versions is a 5-speed ZF gearbox, ZF S5D. And some take from the E46, either from the 330 a GS6 or from the M3 G-Track for 20G. I go for the ZF one. Final drive, we keep the standard diff in there and just adjust the gearbox ratios there. And with that, this is how it would look like. Yeah, we still are at the same top speed basically, but we reach the top speed either in 5th or in 6th gear, and we have about 15% lower RPM when driving. So I think that makes a difference. Alright, and with this setup, I'll do a quick lap and return with the lap time of a realistic real-world tune without touching the engine. I expect it to be quite a bit quicker because we can just take the corners a bit more confidently, and I hope to keep it a bit more together than with the standard car. Definitely I can feel more grip. Now I just shouldn't become too confident. Just a few weeks ago I actually walked around the Nordschleife in 5 hours, so quite a high pace on a very hot day. Yeah, it really makes you appreciate how this track carves through the landscape, and it's such a nice way to experience the track. So many nice trails around it. Definitely can recommend that, to do that on foot or maybe on a bike, and it really makes you appreciate the height differences, elevation changes. If you need a guide, let me know, I'll do it again. Alright, let's see now what he can do in a straight line if I don't have to steer. Yeah, same speed. But maybe I can be a little bit more confident here in move curve. Yeah, shouldn't have been. Ouch. That was quite a big hit. And again, it's pretty damaged. It's really hard to control, even worse than the one before. Alright, I somehow made it onto the Döttinger Höhe. I think we are still in time for an improvement, but it's pretty bad. Oh, this is so unstable. It's wiggling. I'm keeping the steering wheel constant, but it's wiggling so much. It might actually be hard to do an improvement here. Yeah, it will be close. And it's another 926. No, it was 3/10 quicker. Okay, but yeah, it would have been so much better if I didn't mess it up. Alright, as the next step of upgrades, I want to do what BMW themselves have tried in a prototype, shoehorning the V12 from the 750 and 850i into the clown shoe. That means we need to recreate the 5.4 liter V12 M73 engine, and probably have completely messed up weight distribution then on the front axle, and not more power than the M Coupe had with the 6-cylinder. But it's what BMW did, and V12 I think is the logical choice. I also give it a different color. I like the Estoril blue always on BMWs, and then add a new engine. I think the M73 was introduced in 1994, and it's the non-TU version that we are building. So 60-degree V12 it is. It's an Alsi block, don't know if heavy or not. I guess a little bit more on the heavy side, But if you want to get that weight distribution problem, then probably we should should choose the heavy option. The bore is 85 and it will fit. That's good. Less of a problem here in automation than in real life. And the stroke is 79. This engine was SOSC 2-valve, and we also go for aluminium, probably standard. For the crankshaft, BMW used a heavy-duty cast one with forged conrods and cast or hyper-eutectic pistons. The compression ratio was 10. Cam and stuff we need to check later. It didn't have any Vanos. It was NA, obviously. It has also MPFI with twin throttle, one for each bank. And then obviously we use unleaded fuel, 95, and a standard mid manifold, most likely. Yeah, it was not really a performance engine. Probably had mid-cast headers. I start with a normal 3-way catalytic converter, dual exhaust obviously, and then we go with a straight through and reverse flow. It was more from a luxury application. And then we are at almost 300 horsepower. We need to get 326 at 5000 RPM, and we need 490 Newton meters at 3900 RPM. So we are not there yet. Let's start using a little bit of quality. With the performance mid intake, we get a nice spike where we need it. So maybe we need to go with that. And we're getting closer. And there we basically have it. 7 Newton meters too little, 1 horsepower too little, and a little too late, but I think it's good enough for that build. So we are now at 300 kilograms, which should be just spot on. So the engine weight was somewhere between 220 250 horsepower itself, and then you add the massive exhaust system. So I think this is right in the ballpark where we need to be. And what does that do? It makes us run into the limiter. That's the most important thing. Maybe a different diff would be good, but we'll leave it as it is. We just swapped the engine, but we will probably go for the tires of the M version. Just a little bit more. But yeah, what does it do to the weight distribution? I think that's the most important thing. And I think this is not fully realistic. So only 2% worse weight distribution on the front. I think from the values that I found, it's more like 56, which is still not bad. But compared to a 3.2 liter for the M Coupe, I think this is a bit much worse, and the engine is obviously less sporty. But still, of course, it's super cool to have a V12 here in our Z3 Coupe. In reality, this looked a little different, I'd say. So this is definitely not how much space you would have in reality there. Alright, let's take it around the track, see if it's controllable or just understeering as hell. Alright, let's try the V12. The blue is a little bit different than I wanted it to be, but there's nothing we can do about it. Probably should have given it 4 exhausts. Forgot about that. First 2 gears are super short. Traction control is fighting very hard. Yeah, basically it's just a 4-speed gearbox. Using gears 3 to 6 probably. But I can notice the 130 horsepower more. Definitely pulling nicely. From an understeer perspective, yeah, there's a little more maybe. But it's controllable. It's not that bad. 56 in the front is not that bad. The standard Z3 is just too good with 50-50 or 51 to 49. $160 through there, a little bit more would have been possible. And 6th gear. Already quicker than the standard Z3 can ever be. And that was scary. Just got it slowed down. And forgot to steer in the end. And now, car is still in top shape. We can use all the power. We were struggling to get above 190 in the standard versions. And we are still accelerating here. A little bit more would have been possible through there, but better be safe than sorry. And into carousel, and spits us out. I was too quick there. So yeah, the M Coupe had basically the same power, was a little lighter. It did have better weight distribution, so probably would be superior to this one, but V12 obviously is cooler. It's crazy how little power they got out of this 5.4 liter V12. This is going so well. This is where Max Verstappen threw it away. I don't. Because of superior driving skills and a superior car compared to the Mercedes. And now power all the way down there. 320 horsepower, 250, and we're running into the limiter there. And there we are with the 845. Quite an improvement. Not too bad, not too bad. And then for the last step, let's try to build something a little bit more wild, full on tuner mode, and see what we can achieve here in automation if I didn't care about the historic plate that I will get in 3 years' time if I keep my car stock. So let's go wild, let's rework the body, let's tune the engine and build something truly unique. Right, I think I'm done with the exterior. We got a nice new front bumper. A bit more aggressive. We got a hood scoop prepared for a supercharger, which we will mount. And then, yeah, a bit of a side skirt, side vent. Rear bumper is new with 4 exhausts. We also need to mount the V12 in there, of course. I forgot to do that. And yeah, a bit of a spoiler in the rear. Let me quickly adjust the engine, and then let's get something out of these 5.4 liters with a supercharger. Oh, it's already working. Didn't even try yet, but let's strengthen the bottom end first. Then let's give it more different fuel. Obviously this is quite racy intake. And then we'll need to check what... Oh god, the exhaust is limiting us a little bit. Yeah, let's remove all of the mufflers. No catalytic converter, obviously. Need some more racy headers. And then it's looking a lot better already. Yeah, I think this is plenty. We have now 903 horsepower and 1000 Newton meters without going all out on quality. So, realistic build, I'd say. I think that should do quite well. Also, we reach nicer top speed now. Brakes obviously need to be improved then. Let's give it vented discs. Yeah, that's a lot better. We do have some downforce. I will give it a little bit more in the front. Let's also make it, sport under tray, just so that we get a little bit more performance out of this thing. 3.9 seconds from 0 to 100. Yeah, and the rest will leave the same, I guess. Just a little bit more anti-roll bars. Does not really help a lot. Some harder dampers, some harder springs. And then I'm almost done with it. There's one more special feature that I want to do. Unfortunately, it does not look that nice. I added some neon lights under the car, but the game does not really reflect enough on the bottom to make it really beautiful. It does not count those as light sources, unfortunately. Might look better in BeamNG. And there we are with the V12 here in BeamNG, and yeah, the neon lights are not working exactly as I wanted them to. Probably need different fixtures for them to work properly. But other than that, it looks quite nice. And also sounds quite nice. Yeah, I'm scared already. Let's see what this can do. Alright, now in daylight. Oh god. Will the traction control actually work? Car is super twitchy. Oh, this is really not pretty to watch, I guess. This is all over the place. Oh god. Oh, my wheel. Oh god, this is so hard. Oh, the wheel is coming back. Okay, one more try. I don't know, it's locked up so hard. Oh, coolant overheating. Too much gas already. Let's see if we can bring it back. Piston rings damaged. So will that help me if piston rings are damaged? Do I have less power then? Still the temperature light is on. And still we're going way too quick. Cylinder wall. Cylinder wall is melted. Engine oil critically low. That's normal BMW status, right? So for an engine where the cylinder wall is melted, I think this is still going pretty well. I even carried a bit of speed through there. Downforce helps. So let's see if the engine will survive this flat out bit. Oh, block melted. But it's still going. It might be that automation is not modeling all of the problems as it should. But yeah, for a melted block this is still going pretty well. Indestructible. I think I still have the same power as before. Again proving that BMW engines run without oil like a charm. If they lose oil, it's just weight reduction. It's so all over the place, but we are basically done with the lap. Only 2 chances to crash. Only 1 chance to crash and only 1 long straight to blow up the engine. Only in 5th gear now. Still have 6th gear. But we top out at 290, I guess. Not 300. I had to brake at some point. And we're almost there, but it's not sub 8. With a little bit better driving, I could have done it. It's an 802 with a melted engine block. Give me one other car that can do this. And there we have proven it. BMWs are just the best. And the V12 Z3 should have been built, and it should have gotten a supercharger. Anyway, do you have more ideas for nice and crazy builds? Let me know in the comments below. Definitely want to do a rally version, I want to do a Dakar version. Don't know what else yet. But there's plenty of stuff to do, I think, with this car. See you again very soon. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.